Hello everyone, Inklander here, and today I just kind of wanted to do a different video, just one where we're going to be talking about what would happen if there happened to be another Skylanders game, if it happened to be Toys to Life, and if for some reason they happen to want to bring back the Lightcore gimmick. And I figured, let's go ahead and give each of the different 8 elements, not including light and dark because of the rules I'm about to set in place in a second, but each of the original 8 elements, another Lightcore. What would happen, what would that look like if Toys for Bob decided to go back and add in 8 more Lightcore characters? So I guess the guidelines that I'm giving myself for this would be that this character has to be a core character, so they can't be a gimmick lander, they can't be a magic item or anything like that. It has to be a actual core character, and the reason for this is, yes, while we did see the Giants have Lightcore, that was their original form. Like, I really don't think they'd go back and, remake the Swap Force with Lightcore or anything like that. I mean, I guess they could, but there isn't really any precedent for it. So, because of that, I'm just going to be sticking to kind of the formula that they used, and that's going to be just using core characters. So I kind of looked at this as which core characters should they go back to and give a Lightcore, and this isn't really me going from the basis of, oh, I really like this character, because there's some characters on this list that I don't like that much, but this is really more so me going back to the idea of where could they put a light on this figure, what would look cool for this figure, and so that's kind of the direction that I'm going with for this video. We're not really going to be doing light and dark because they only ever got 1 core, and if they wanted to do a full 10, then I guess they could give it a spotlight and blackout, but that'd just be kind of weird. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump on in, going in elemental order. So we are starting with Earth, and the character I think would be great to have a light core for the Earth element is Rocky Roll. So this is a character that I kind of tend to overlook. I really don't play as this character that much. I just kind of don't really find him exciting, and I definitely think he was way overshadowed by Fist Bump. But still, he does have a really unique kind of character design, since we kind of have this double character going on with Rocky and Roll. And I think it'd be a really cool idea for them to put a light in either the character's eye or maybe in the light on his helmet, or both. I think that'd be kind of really cool. It'd look really cool when you put it on the portal, and that is the reason why I would pick Rocky Roll for the Earth element. For the Air element, I figured, I feel like this one's kind of obvious. It kind of has to be Scratch, doesn't it? Scratch looks like she should light up when you put her on the portal, but she doesn't, and that's very disappointing. And yeah, I just really wish they had done a light core of Scratch. It would have been a really awesome looking character, and they could have had her claws and her eyes light up, and that just would have been awesome. It would look really, really cool. So if they did ever go back and do another light core for the Air element, I kind of think it has to be Scratch. Moving on to the Fire element, and this one, I think there's a couple different options that would work, but the one that I'm going with is Flameslinger, just because Flameslinger's a pretty popular character, and I think they could kind of do some really fun stuff with either his arrows or maybe just some sort of move with Flameslinger that I think would, maybe his fire trail, they could have like a fire trail light up behind him. Like, there's something that I feel like they could do with Flameslinger, and also I think because they would go with Flameslinger, they'd have a pretty good guarantee that this character would sell well, because Flameslinger is kind of popular. He's a pretty fun fire element character, so I think they could do something, whether it's with his arrows or his fire dash or anything. That would all look pretty cool. So I think that'd be a really interesting direction, and they could go with Frino or someone, but I feel like Frino would be harder to justify a light with, kind of like with Hex. They just kind of awkwardly put a light on Hex, and they're like, there you go, there's your light core. So I don't know, I just feel like Flameslinger would maybe just work the best. But then again, maybe they could also go with Torch or with Trailblazer or a character like that. But I don't know, I feel like Flameslinger would probably be a pretty good bet for them. Moving on to the water element, I went with Slam Bam from Spyro's Adventure. And the reason why I went with Slam Bam is just kind of because I think it'd be really cool to see his whole body light up, really. I think that'd be a really cool thing to see that placed on the portal, if it would just kind of glow that, crystal kind of blue color. That just look really, really cool. So it'd be neat to see a whole entire light core version of Slam Bam. I just think it'd be a lot of fun and look really cool. The other character I was thinking of is Punk Shock, but she's not really that popular of a character. Granted, one of the characters I have coming up later isn't really that popular of a character, but I don't know, like, Punk Shock, I just think also they'd probably have a hard time fitting the light element into like her crossbow, so I just feel like Slam Bam here is the best choice because they could do a lot with it. Next up is the life element, and I went with Zulu. This is kind of another one where it's like, wow, I can't believe Zulu didn't ever get a light core. Just like his staff glowing that like translucent traptanium but not traptanium green would be really kind of cool, and that'd be something really awesome to see on a figure. They could do something like that. They could even have the pose maybe have his wolf companion with him, and maybe the wolf is kind of glowing green, or one of the birds, or like there's so many different things where all of his attacks are kind of this translucent ethereal kind of green, and there's so many different ways they could repose Zulu to not only have like his staff light up, but maybe have one of his animal spirits light up too, and that'd be kind of neat. Moving on to the undead element, I decided to go with Fright Rider here. I almost went with Funny Bone, but then I was like, no, what? There's a character that doesn't get a lot of love, and I think that's mostly just because a lot of people forget about him, including, obviously, Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions, and that's Fright Rider. And I really feel like this character does deserve another chance. I think that he needs another repose, and I think giving him a light core would work really well. And it'd look really cool with his figure. Having his bird's eyes light up would be really awesome to see. Or maybe they could even add to the pose like a bunch of the like heads of the birds sticking out of the ground or something out of the base, and having some of those eyes light up. They could do tons of stuff with that, and that'd be kind of really cool. So I went with Fright Rider here just because he's kind of a forgotten character, but I feel like if they released him again, a lot of people would discover him for the first time and he'd sell really well, and they could do a lot of fun things with the light core element. On to the magic element, and for the magic element, I decided to go with Double Trouble. And, you know, this is another one where I was like, maybe we should go with Deja Vu here, but I feel like Double Trouble's a really good bet. A lot of people are familiar with the character, and also they could kind of do a lot of good things with this character. They could have the staff light up, they could have his eyes light up, they could maybe have like some sort of beam coming out of the staff that they could have lighting up. They could do any number of things with this character for the light core element, and because of that, I just think Double Trouble's kind of a perfect choice. With Deja Vu, like, they could do some stuff, like maybe they could have her hourglass lighting up, but that might be a little bit hard for them to do and manage with the figure, so I decided to go with Double Trouble. For the final element, the tech element, I've decided to go with Boomer, one of the Forgotten Eight. And the reason why I decided to go with Boomer is just because I feel like they could kind of do a fun thing with having his explosives, his TNT lighting up. You know, they could kind of have it be like, have like a spark on it, or maybe have the TNT itself lighting up. They could kind of do something fun with that. They could maybe do something with like having Chopper firing off his missiles and maybe having those light up, but really I kind of went with Boomer just because I feel like having the TNT on fire and having the little spark on the TNT lighting up, that would make sense, and I think that would work really well. And it'd be kind of fun to see Boomer have another pose other than the Eon's Elite, because Boomer needs a little bit more love. He's not necessarily one of my favorite characters, but it would be kind of cool to see another repose of him, and I think the light core version of him could actually end up looking pretty cool. With that, that's my list of 8 characters I think would be really cool to get a light core if there was a new game that actually included light core in it, and also Toys to Life. So what do you think of my list? Let me know. What would your list be if you got to pick 8 new light core figures? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I tend to do a lot of Nintendo and Skylanders content, so if you want to see more videos like this in the future, let me know. And also join my Discord server as well. There's a link in the description for that if you want to talk about Skylanders or Nintendo stuff whenever I'm not doing a video or a live stream or anything like that. Thanks, and see you in the next one. Bye.